Welcome back to definitely not take two.
Wait, what?
Because someone was falling asleep while we were doing it.
Did you listen? Did you listen to it?
No, I was going through it with you. I heard enough. And then the neighbour just mowing as soon as I started was like triggering as well.
Basically, I was so tired, I was sleep talking.
Well, you told me halfway through the episode that you hadn't slept yet that night. And I was
I hadn't
like...
slept for like 24 hours.
I was like, we could have just... If you'd told me earlier, we could have just waited a bit and done it later, after you rested.
I thought I could do it and then go to sleep.
Well, you thought wrong. That was like 1 p.m. or something.
I did think wrong. It was like 1 or 2 o'clock, yeah.
I had just woken up. And you were just like...
as soon as I could, I was like, okay, we're going to get this done and then I can pass out. And it didn't happen, did it?
Maybe I'll still upload the other one so that everyone can hear you.
No. I don't remember what I said.
You just said the lines, like, out of, words in the wrong spot and stuff like that. And long pauses.
Really?
And then, like...
Oh, definitely long pauses.
Do you remember anything? I'm sure you have some memory, right?
Honestly, I forgot the characters' names that were on the front screen.
Well, they weren't involved in the chapter we read, so... From that last chapter, do you remember anything?
So that was 2 weeks ago?
No, it was last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Last weekend?
Yes.
So I went and saw you in the middle of this week.
Well, it wasn't the middle, it was like during the start, I think.
Yeah. Tuesday evening, close enough to the middle. It feels like so long ago.
Well, we're here now, we're gonna read. Except I forgot to, there's characters that came in that I've forgotten the voices of, and I never went back to check what I did for them. So they're going to be improv again, I guess.
Okay. Do you want to do the narration, or would you like me to do the narration?
Well, it switches. Sometimes it's Archie, and sometimes it's just narration.
Okay.
Alright, you ready?
I hope so.
As long as you have record pressed.
Oh, it's been
recording.
That
is the most... I swear, one day it's going to happen.
I swear we've already done that.
The VIP room was filled with the sweet smell of pumpkin tea and packed with smiles and laughter. No! Simply splendid. I am glad to see you in such high spirits.
I could say the same for you. What idiot said you're reaching your last years?
I just borrow a bit of cheer from you. Once I return to my study, I will be little more than a withering, senile old man.
Enough with your lies. Give it up and swear that you'll be living at large until you're 100.
Same here. I haven't seen you for 6 years, but I was surprised to see how little you changed. You little brat. So it seems you've learned flattery during these past 6 years. Sorry to disappoint you, but you're hardly a fair judge in that matter. I have grown quite old indeed.
I'll bet 1,000 yen that Kinzo's still doing great when he turns 100. For someone who has a lot of gold, 1,000 yen is like, what, $10?
Yeah. I mean, who was betting that? Beatrice.
It's Beatrice,
well,
that's what I mean.
She gave all of her gold to Kinzo.
Oh, true.
She's really struggling for those pennies. Yeah, me too. Grandfather won't be any different when he's 100. Don't think you'll get any more presents for complimenting me. Kinzo laughed cheerily. Beato, who sat next to Battler, was also laughing merrily. Hanji stood all alone by the window, staring at the others and trying to figure out what sort of relationship the witch of the portrait and her grandfather had.
Oh my goodness, Angie, don't go there.
There was a
That
knock.
is asking too much for such a young mind.
Is that you, Genji? Come in! Pardon the intrusion. Kraus-sama and Natsuhi-sama are here. Father. Oh, and Battler-kun's here too.
Oh, it has been some time, Beatrice-san. Has there been any news? I am just the way I used to be. Come on, have a seat. And Angie, why are you standing by the window like that? Come over here and sit down.
Hanji, come over here.
I'll just watch from here.
Hanji grasped the candy she had gotten from Beato tightly, and with a gaze that was still wary, she continued to stare. Genji offered her a chair, but Anji just shook her head. Let her do as she pleases. Come, Kraus, Natsuhi, and have a seat as well. Is it something important? I guess Anji and I should leave.
Hey, if you leave, who's gonna pack me up here? Kinzo, you don't mind if Battler stays, do you?
I have nothing to hide. I care not. However, he had called Kraus and Natsuhi to the VIP room to meet Beatrice, the Golden Witch. It was hard to imagine that Kinzo wanted to have a casual conversation. After Kinzo said he didn't mind, Beato also asked Battler to stay, so he decided to do so. In order to avoid getting in the way of their conversation, Battler stood up from the sofa and walked over to Anji's window. When the big brother finally came back to Anji, she clung to his waist as though determined not to let him go away again.
Oh, I see. That must be why Anji doesn't like me.
Huh? What do you mean? Anji doesn't dislike you, does she?
You really don't understand women, Battler.
Beato smiled at Anji, but the latter turned to look the other way.
Even a young woman is a woman nonetheless.
When Beato stopped laughing, the conversation switched gears. Why on earth did Kinzo summon Kraus and Natsuhi to the VIP room, and what was he going to talk about? Everyone fell automatically silent. Golden Witch, Beatrice. Each and every day I remember the debt the Ushirimiya family owes from when it was saved from the brink of destruction.
Yeah, you'd better thank me.
Well, it's actually your grandmother he's thanking.
Shut up, you.
No, it comes to the same thing. All of that gold has been lent to the Ushirimiya family for 3 generations, and without cost.
We truly cannot be grateful enough. Gold bars are the same as bricks to me. I had nowhere else to put them, so it was a relief to have Kinzo hold on to them.
Whoa, I'd like to say that just once before I die.
Is the Golden Witch a rich person?
Well, yeah. After all, she just went and lent grandfather 10 tons of gold. Precisely. I've been borrowing it for several decades, always promising to return it someday. It is a debt I will never be able to fully repay.
The head family has never forgotten its gratitude. Isn't that right, dear?
Of course. If the Beatrices hadn't kindly lent it to us for the 3 generations, the Ushirimiya family would have fallen long ago. Even someone as shrewd as father couldn't have done anything without funds to start with.
By now, my money is making money, and the gold that made up my original funds can sleep in peace. Kraus, do you know what I am about to say? Since the moment Kraus had been summoned here, he had guessed what Kinzo was hinting at now. All things borrowed must be returned someday. That day had finally come.
Yes, I understand, Father.
Beatrice, I do not have many years ahead of me. In fact, this may be the last family conference that we will attend together.
How faint-hearted you sound. You must be joking.
Beato alone laughed. She looked at Butler, so he laughed along with her, but Kinzo and the others remained silent. Apparently, there existed some major concerns about Kinzo's health.
Of course, I do not intend to die as soon as next year. However, I don't believe I can make any certain promises about meeting you again. I never make promises I cannot keep.
If you say it so proudly like that, I'm in no position to disagree. Are you serious about this?
Beatrice, I want to make amends, and I must do it while I am still in high spirits. For that reason, I made a decision today.
Oni-chan, what's grandfather talking about?
Quiet. Grandfather is about to talk about something very important.
Serena's
Shut up, Anji.
Shut up.
By now, even Butler understood what Kinzo was about to propose. Beato probably realized it too. At one time, the Ushirimiya family had ruled the skies like an eagle, before being crushed by the Great Kanto earthquake. The eagle had one of its wings torn off, and it crawled in the mud, on the point of death. Then, they were saved by the Golden Witch's golden miracle. Under the Golden Witch's protection, the eagle had nursed its wounds for many years. And now, finally, it was time for the eagle to leave the nest the witch had provided.
I will return all of the gold that your grandfather lent me. Kraus, you have no objections, correct? That gold did not belong to the Ushirimiya family in the first place.
Of course. I have no objections whatsoever.
Are you sure, Kraus? You're an investor, aren't you? You could always do with more money, right? Didn't you want Kinzo to hand that gold over to you?
Yes, now that you mention it, it's hard to deny what you say. However, the contract was always between you and Father, and the gold was yours to begin with.
My husband is the successor after all. Just as Father rebuilt the family in one generation, I am sure my husband will make the family thrive in his. And this is something the two of us will do together.
Well said. Yes, that's the spirit.
So, letting go of 10 tons of gold leaves you with no regrets? I must say, that is quite impressive. What can a witch do against an opponent who cannot be swayed by golden magic?
I will return the gold to you, but the Ushirimiya family will always be supremely indebted to Beatrice, the Golden Witch.
They would return the gold once lent by the Golden Witch. It was both simple and clear. However, the expression worn by the Golden Witch herself was slightly lonely.
They won't need me anymore.
Anji couldn't understand why this was.
After all, if you're returning it, I cannot simply say, I don't want it, take it back. Ah, well.
Beata rose from the sofa. Then she walked up to the window and looked down at the rose garden waving in the wind.
Kraus, I have also decided to present you and the others with my inheritance while I still live.
Father.
When I die, you will not only be busy with the funeral, but I imagine that you will have Ava and the others at your throats over the inheritance issue. If all is divided now, the funeral will be less trying for you. Kraus, write this down, and Genji, please be our secretary. I will now lay out the distribution of my assets.
Who gets the bomb? That's the most important one.
Oh my god.
Kinzo immediately began explaining how the inheritance would be split up. Battler, realizing that he shouldn't be listening in on this conversation, walked over to where Beato was loitering by the window. Hey, rich person. If you've got too much gold on your hands, I'd be happy to lighten the load.
Gold would be more useful if you turned it into firewood and used it to cook a stew.
What's the matter? You're looking a bit bored.
So, this day has finally come. I do feel a bit lonely.
You do?
My magic revived the Ushiromia family and created Rikenjima. And now it seems that the Ushiromia family no longer has any need for the power of my gold. It has taken flight, leaving the nest of my magic behind.
True. That's how it's turned out.
I have called Rikenjima the Witch's Island. My island.
Yeah.
And now Rikenjima is returning the gold to me. The day has come for Rikenjima to awaken from my magic.
That's true.
I knew that this would be the last game. However, now that we've reached this point, even in a manner such as this, it's surprisingly painful.
You're the type of person who looks totally carefree, but who's actually full of lingering attachments and regrets.
The cruel and obstinate ones are usually the quickest to grow attached, and then to feel lonely.
That's right. That's the kind of person you are.
It was a game for you and me.
It was fun. A great game you polished to perfection during those 6 years.
I once likened it to the eternal torture for the both of us.
Eternity is happiest when you can still believe that it's eternal. But all things must end, and we have to be aware of that.
So we must not avert our eyes.
Just as the sun always rises, there's no sun that doesn't set. Of course, Anji didn't have the slightest idea what her brother and the witch were talking about. However, even as young as she was, she could feel that the pair had spent an incredibly long time together, and that they understood each other so well that they might as well be a married couple. Then, Beato noticed her reaction.
Anji, at one point, the two of us wove games for each other. However, that time is now over. This game has been made not for our sake, but for yours. I don't remember this at all, this part.
This would be Anji. No, okay. They were speaking in riddles again, grasping the key that hung by her chest. Anji looked at her brother's face. We need to show you the contents of the cat box of this day. That key I gave you is for opening it.
What do you mean by cat box?
He means this day.
With the miracle of magic, I've brought you to the day you wanted to reach so much. You must continue telling the story of this day as the final witch.
Does that mean that I mustn't remain here?
Anji's tone was slightly tense. She understood what her brother meant, and it made her frown.
Just how long have I suffered wishing that I could return to Rikenjima of 1986? And now I finally made it here. So why are you chasing me out? You said I could decide for myself.
That's right. I did say that.
I'm not leaving. And please, stop trying to spoil me with this strange made-up game. I want to know the truth of this day.
I think I've given Anji a totally new voice.
No, that's fine. It was like Maria voice before.
She's a moody girl, be it 12 years in the future or in the past.
Shut up! I didn't ask you. And what the hell do you think you're doing here? Didn't the Golden Witch come here to perform her resurrection ceremony? Didn't you appear on the island with a crash of thunder and try to offer up 13 people as sacrifices? Why are you acting so happy and casual? It doesn't make sense.
You're the one that doesn't make sense. What are you thinking? Do you want me to be a murderer?
You wrote it down in a tale, sealed it in a message bottle, and threw it into the sea. 2 of those were discovered later on. Both of them were stories of cruel serial murders.
What a shame that only 2 of them made it to the shore. How sad that land, my greatest masterpiece, was never seen by human eyes.
I've been wanting to ask this for a while, but what's up with those message bottles?
As I was working out the details for my game against you, I began creating those tales along the way. Once I realized that I could create endless different tales out of the same game board, it really started to get fun.
So you wrote them down hoping that I'd read them someday?
Precisely. They were so good I just couldn't bear to wait for you to return. Inspired by Agatha Christie, I tried sealing them in bottles and throwing them into the ocean. Mysterious, don't you think?
Don't mock me. Those were your plans for the crime. You used the location of the hidden gold to fan up discontent between the family members. As you planned your brutal serial murders.
Sheesh. Is that what I've become in the year 1998? Well, I guess I can't blame them.
What's with the sudden change of character? Is this some scheme to make me let my guard down? I'm not going to be fooled so easily, Beatrice. Oni-chan! You want to make me surrender and say that witches exist, don't you? You think I'll fall for that? I'll find the truth without your help.
Even though that truth is all around you right now. You once called yourself Gretel, but it seems that the name Mittel would be more fitting. Is it my title? We didn't look up who the I what?
You asked the same thing.
Title. Mittel?
I'm not sure.
Tiltul and Miltel's Adventures. It's based on the Bluebird.
Twitter?
Oh my goodness. No. Okay.
Masterlink's Bluebird. How is this? Wait, okay. Metalink. Ah, yeah, yeah. No. Aoi Tori. Chiru. Ah. Michiru. Ah, so she's saying Michiru, not Michiru. Michiru. Oh, that makes weird spelling. Okay, set in a German-speaking country, it's about a 12-year-old girl called Michiru and her 13-year-old brother called Chiru, seeking happiness. Represented by the Bluebird of Happiness, aided by the good fairy Berylune, they are accompanied on their journey by their cat and dog, Shannon and Chiral, who were given anthropomorphic forms and the ability to talk by Berylune. So Michiru, that doesn't really give us a whole... Okay, well, here's the title, Sing Dance the Merry Fairies. Good evening good evening ghost, the birds who grasp freedom, welcome to the land of sickness. A happiness a little too full of itself? Secret of the palace of the night, devil inhabited mansion, deep sea is the gathering place of demons. The land of gold is full of dreams. Revolt of the animals. Animal farm. This looks interesting. It looks like, is it Tezuka? Toei animation. It's got like the similar art style to Astro Boy. So that gives you an idea of the age.
Oh, I should have it was an old tale.
Michiru. Okay.
Back to Umineko from that short break.
I'm gonna put you on 2.5 times speed with that.
Okay. Enough!
That's Anji. Anji tried to slap Beato's cheek.
Oh my.
However, the difference between their heights was so great that Beato dodged before the hand could reach her.
Stupid. Stupid. I won't accept it. I'll never acknowledge this farce as the truth.
After Anji yelled those words, her eyes grew cloudy. They cleared up almost immediately. By that time, she had already gone back to her 6-year-old self.
Oh, this was actual Anji. Whoopsies. You're right, Anji. This is the sin I left behind, and the reason for this final tale's existence. Wait, the sin is Anji?
Huh?
Is she saying the sin she left behind is Anji?
I guess so, kind of.
That she didn't kill Anji.
She left someone there to, like, fester.
Yeah. I mean, but you did have Avar as well.
Yeah, how'd that turn out?
Yeah, true.
As Anji stared blankly, uncomprehending, Beato gently patted her head.
Indeed. This tale is a farce. Of course it isn't the truth. Oh, now we know. However, there is something that he feels he must tell you. Something he's so determined to convey that he went to such lengths.
Beato, I'm already showing her. I don't want to force it on her.
I see.
Oh, teacher! I don't understand what you're saying. I'm sleepy.
Yeah. This was a thing. True. We should probably go take a nap.
Kinzo, must I remain here longer?
My apologies, but I must ask you to stay for just a bit.
To see the mice.
I was about to say stay quiet for a bit.
Moving on, Kraus. The continued support of the Fukuin House should be viewed as your responsibility as the Ushiromiya family head.
Oh, what a pain. Forgive me, Butler. It seems I cannot go with you. Genji, would you mind taking these two to the guest house?
As you wish. Butler-sama, Anji-sama, please follow me.
Thanks. See you later, Beato.
Of course. I have a mountain of things I wish to discuss with you. And I'd like to have some time alone tonight. We must act the part of a married couple every now and then.
What do you mean, act the part of a married couple?
Because Anji had gotten so bored, she had grown very sleepy. It would probably be best for her to take a quick nap. Butler walked through the windy rose garden, pulling her by the hand. When he questioned their guide, Genji, he learned that the old servant had known beforehand of Kinzo's desire to return the gold to Beato, and settle the inheritance problem early. The master decided to start preparations early for his final task in this world, the ending of his life.
Most people don't think that much about what happens after they die. I guess grandfather just lives on a whole different scale.
Today marks the start of a new flight, when the Ushiromiya family will depart from the Golden Witch's patronage.
That's true. That's a pretty cool way to say it.
Apparently, a grand Halloween party was to be held tonight, and Goda and the others had been ordered to start getting ready for it. However, it wouldn't just be a party, it would be a ceremony to mark the return of Beatrice's gold. At the start of dinner, grandfather would make the announcement, and the 3 generations of Beatrices would be thanked for their gift to the family with a round of applause. Apparently, this was what they had planned.
Are we still keeping this secret from Dad and the others?
Technically, it is a secret. However, the Master did not suddenly begin thinking in this way today. He has considered this day many times over many years, and has even discussed certain matters with his children. I doubt that any will be surprised to hear that this night's announcement.
Apparently my old boss has been running all over the place trying to get money for his company. I guess he'll be dancing around when he hears that grandfather's giving him his part of the inheritance early. A nice present for him.
I rather think the great responsibility is what will spur him on. Ever since Rudolph Summer left the island, he has succeeded splendidly. However, his success so far has been supported by the Master's wealth.
And now that he's suddenly getting his inheritance money, he'll have to keep going by his own strength alone in the future. That's some nice pressure for him.
Actually, that's a good point. Like, it seemed to be that once they got the inheritance, that was the be-all and the end-all, and it was supposed to, like, fix all their problems and set them up for life. But what's to stop, I forgot his name, and he was just on the screen before. Like,
Kinzo.
not Kinzo, Jessica's dad.
Kraus.
Like, what's to stop Kraus from gambling that money away and, like, making another bad investment? And, like, there's a reason why they all were in, like, terrible financial situations to begin with in the first place.
So in the real world, Kraus and Natsuhi and the servant hid Kinzo's death, and therefore they didn't need to distribute his inheritance, I guess.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, if in a, like, different universe they all got the inheritance like they are here, like, what? Because that's what they wanted. So Kraus wanted to keep everything for himself because he blundered so much of it away.
I don't think he wanted to keep it for himself. He wanted to keep what was there for himself for the time being until he could make it back with interest.
So you think it was more of, like, the shame?
Yeah, and then, like, once he'd made it back, then they could announce, oh yeah, father passed away, here's your share of the inheritance, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, what they do with it, I don't know, they could still end up in financial distress and stuff, but, like, I think they're all thinking, the three siblings who, like, formed the pact was, like, thinking of the here and now, while Kraus was thinking of the future.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Because that's why they banded together. They were like, oh, we desperately need this money, like, ASAP.
Yeah.
Because we've got all this stuff going on. And then Kraus was like, well, I'm going to make this money. I just need the time. That was the big, like, disagreement with them.
Do you think he could have, though? Or would have, like, just got himself into more debt?
They said that, like, everyone overlooked the project that he had planned, or, like, whatever his investment was, and they said it's guaranteed to make money. It just needs time.
Oh, okay. Like, even the siblings said that.
Yeah. I know Natsuhi saw it and she sold, I guess, but...
Well, it's hard to take Natsuhi because it's so biased. Her opinion.
I don't know, I think it was implied that it would have been a successful money-making scheme, but the problem is how long it would have taken. No one knew. Because I think it was okay. Thinking back on it, it was like he had this plan and he was like, okay, I just need a year, and then a year passed, and then he was like, no, I just need one more year.
Yeah.
And then another year passed, and it just kind of built up.
It snowballed.
So I guess maybe it could have failed, but I don't know. It might be just up to interpretation.
It's kind of sucky that they just couldn't all go live on the island. Wait things out a little bit.
I mean, I don't think they wanted to.
Well, no one wants to go live in a really isolated area.
Well, no, I think they want to do their own things and become successful on their own because they're from like a prestigious family.
Yeah. But it just seems like it's like, yeah, I was successful with my small loan of like $50,000.
Small loan of $1 million.
Small loan of $1 million. Successful in my own right. A loan that I got from my parents. Just like,
Well, like, so Rudolph and Kirie are essentially like con people out of their money.
yeah.
Ava and Hideyoshi, I think they had ties with like black markets or something. I can't remember.
Oh, really? I thought he did some sort of trading or something.
No, he was like head of like a food company or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had like I can't remember what they did. I think they like made businesses go under, like competitors go under, and they were like under a lot of pressure because they were hated in the business. It's been a while. I can't remember.
They crushed
And
the
then there was-
competitors too well.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm mixing it up with Rudolph Curio. And then there was like Rosa, who had a fashion company that was just like, it wasn't huge, but yeah, made enough money to survive, I guess.
But wasn't enough money that she wanted to make.
Wasn't enough to bring back the man.
I think Rosa comes across as quite ambitious too, and wanting to be quite the businesswoman. At least when it came to like having to choose business between her daughter.
Oh, I don't know. She didn't really choose business between her dog.
Well, it
She
was
said
like,
she was, but she was going on dates and
yeah, it's true.
like Hokkaido and stuff.
That's true. Just living the like single woman life, the childless life, except
With a
she
child.
had a child. It makes it sound like they lived in a really big house, though, or is that just my imagination?
I don't think they lived in a big house, but probably like just a nice small house or apartment.
Like,
Who knows?
oh, a well-off place? 'Cause it didn't sound like they were.
No, I don't think so.
So she was just actually like struggling.
I don't know. I don't think I don't think they were struggling to survive, any of them.
Yeah.
I think it was like struggling to get to the next step or to like overcome this particular hurdle they had at the time. Because they're coming from a rich family regardless.
Yeah, true.
So they've got some influence.
Yeah. It's like just trying to keep up with the Joneses then.
Yeah. Alright, Genji. The siblings must have suffered for decades because of their father's excess of success and ability. Simply having a parent who is too successful can be a great burden to a child. And tonight, they'll be leaving the nest, truly becoming adults for the first time. It seems the master plans to call this night a gold returning ceremony. However, he originally intended to call it a living funeral. It sounds pretty depressing, having a funeral while you're still alive. I'll admit that calling it a day to start a new journey and leave the nest fits the Ushirimiya family much better.
Oni-chan, I'm sleepy.
Look, we're almost to the guest house. Do you want to go to Mum's room? Or to the cousin room?
I don't care. I'll sleep until dinner.
I remember that bit.
Anji, still holding her brother's hand, crouched down and looked as though she was about to fall asleep.
Oh.
Battler lifted her up and carried her. As she felt the warmth and safety of her brother's back, Anji drifted off into sleep.
You can see it though. I can see one of our nephews doing that. You just zombie walk them back.
Zombie walk? No.
No?
Drag.
Drag.
They fall asleep on the spot.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Just awake and then all of a sudden, blunk.
Perhaps Angie.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Angie?
Oh, I gotta get back to, what is it, angsty teenage Angie.
Oh my gosh. The characters I have to do right now.
What happened that day? Just what on earth happened on October 4th and 5th, 1986? Because of the massive size of the Rokkenjima explosion accident, the time of the explosion was known almost exactly, down to the minute. That time was October 5th, 2400 hours. The sheer improbability of that round number proved that the accident had been produced by artificial means. Later on, the following statements were collected from individuals who knew Ushirumi Kinzo when he was alive. During his lifetime, Ushirumi... Are you sure this is Anji?
I'm not sure.
This is very data-driven. During his lifetime, Ushirumi Kinzo built a clock rigged to blow up the island at exactly midnight.
As someone who wants to find out what happened, that's very Anji.
I feel like Anji or what is his name?
It's Anji, narrator, or it's the witch hunter dude.
Yeah, what is his name? I forgot. You forgot too, didn't you?
I don't know his name. It's like
Will. It's Will, right?
No, not Will, I mean the real world witch hunter, like that old dude who like is obsessed with the internet.
I can't remember him.
You'll see in a second.
Okay. Well, for now it's gonna be I imagine it's like teenage Anji, like in front of a bunch of computer screens, like with her like anime glasses.
Just because of the music.
Yeah, it's the music and the way it is.
This music reminds me of Metroid.
Okay. This clock was apparently inside his secret study when he felt mentally cornered and wanted to think up a brilliant plan. He would activate the device and use the tension of the approaching midnight to bring some flash of inspiration to him. While Ushirumi Kinzo still lived, this was only thought of as a tall tale about this eccentric man. But the fact that the Kenjima explosion accident occurred at exactly midnight supported the story. It sounds crazy.
This guy, Ortski. What kind of voice do I give him?
I can't remember.
Do you remember what I did last week?
No, I don't. But is this the first time we meet him?
No, we met him in episode 4.
I'm sorry, I have
when,
no... I can't remember that far
Anji
back.
was going around... Like, she was being chased by her aunt.
She's been chased by everyone now.
Yeah, and like Okonogi had I forgot his name as well. Oh my gosh. Amakusa was like keeping her guard and stuff.
Yeah.
And she went to visit this guy because she was about to go to the island and she wanted like information. Oh my gosh. He must have hoped to gain some sort of mystical power from those short periods of madness. You recall that his source of high output mental power. The story isn't that difficult to swallow.
Professor Otsuki spoke passionately.
That wasn't very passionate.
Witch hunters. Enthusiasts who treat the mad fantasy surrounding Rokkenjima as their plaything.
Anji had no reason to love these people, who embellished the deaths of her family just for the fun of it. How ironic it was to Anji, who wanted to know what happened that day, that such people knew more about that island than anyone else.
If someone used that device, the island would be blown away without a trace. There would be nothing left. No matter what had happened there, they could erase it.
Theories that Ushiremiya Eva was the ringleader of some conspiracy sprang up very early on. However, no one was able to explain how she set off such a massive explosion.
And the rigged clock proves that such a thing was possible.
Correct. We can theorize that Ushiremiya Eva, fully aware of the timing and expected radius of the explosion, took refuge in Kuwadori.
To get all of the family wealth to herself, she killed everyone and used the explosion to remove all evidence.
That idea proves the most logical explanation for the Rakenjima mystery. It also conforms with the fact that Eva never spoke to anyone about the events of that day.
Where was that rigged clock, and how did Eva find it? Several forgeries have speculated on this matter. There's no need for me to waste time thinking about it. Eva activated the clock device hid in Kuwadorian to escape the blast, and was therefore the only one to survive. That was everything, the answer which eloquently told the whole story. When Eva first adopted me, our relationship wasn't that bad at all. I asked her several times, what happened that day? Every single time she answered, it was to say that she didn't remember. But, well, she must have been flustered at the time. The very first time I asked, she answered like this. I can't tell you about it. It was a slip of the tongue. She knew what had happened that day, and she left this world without telling even a bit of the truth. She sealed the truth in a cat box, and left this world taking the key with her. There can only be one answer. She was behind everything. She got to keep all of the family wealth to herself and became super rich. And afterwards she lamented the fact that her beloved son would never inherit any of what she had created. And she cursed me. Just remembering that old witch makes me want to vomit. What happened that day? That's what I want to know. It's my only goal, the one reason I'm still alive. However, later on, I had to come to grips with the fact that my goal was an abstract one. After all, though I don't know what happened that day, if it's a question of who did the crime, that's already clear. Ushirimiya Eva, she's the culprit. That has never changed since the beginning. That's right, I'm not trying to find out what happened that day. I'm trying to find out what Ushirimiya Eva did that day. If I can reveal that, then I can expose Ava's evil, even though she's already dead. That is my true goal. The police also suspected that the accident might be a crime, and they did investigate. However, no matter how much they inspected the crater that had once been Rakenjima, they didn't find anything at all. The public and the witch hunters cornered Ava with several bits of circumstantial evidence, but not a single bit of physical evidence was found. Though Ava was only the merest fraction of a shade away from guilty, they were unable to expose her crime. My goal isn't anything as vague as learning what happened that day. It's to expose the crime Ushirimiya Ava committed that day, and to have my revenge. I haven't been able to expose Ushirimiya Ava's crime, so people are acting as though the events on the island were all done by some bizarre golden witch. Defeating the golden witch means exposing Ushirimiya Ava's sin. I won't forgive Ushirimiya Ava. Well, certainly. Hate her and take revenge for my family. That is Ushirimiya Anji's one and only reason for living.
Oh my goodness. This music.
If she knew you hated her that much, the president would probably be rolling around laughing in the next world.
Shut up. I'll expose that old witch's crime. I won't accept that it was a perfect crime, with all traces blown away. I'll never do that.
In other words, this journey of yours is a journey to take revenge for your family.
Got a problem with that?
You must be joking. It's great to know that you have a purpose in life.
Could you turn that off?
Oh? You don't like Gamzaki?
Amakusa turned the radio off. The dull sound of the engine became the BGM that filled the car. Is it really so strange? Fighting for revenge?
Not really. Out on the front, I met people who lived for that reason over and over.
You've been on battlefields many times as a mercenary, right?
Well, I've seen a few.
So, are people who fight to take revenge for their families strong?
No doubt about it. Some people even strap bombs to themselves and commit suicide to take revenge for their families. Humans are more capable of dying for vengeance.
That's right. I could do it too.
Have you heard of child soldiers?
You mean kids who fight like soldiers?
That's it. Kids who've lost their parents and have nowhere to go sometimes get picked up by groups of armed insurgents and become soldiers. They get a gun thrust in their hands and they're taught how to take revenge. But in the end, children are expendable. Anyone can be a soldier in a battlefield if they can pull a trigger.
Are you trying to say that I'm like that?
Revenge can be a reason for living. It can also give you the strength to become a soldier. Like a miracle, it can turn a girl who could do nothing but sob over her parents' corpses into a soldier, almost overnight. Nothing gives you more power than revenge.
I guess so. And that's what I'm like.
Do you know about the child soldier problem?
No.
Child soldiers who are given guns and taught how to take revenge make that their reason for living. Well, that's not exactly right. It becomes their reason for firing their guns. But revenge is something that never ends. At some point, they no longer have any reason to keep shooting.
What do you mean?
They once shot for revenge, but eventually they keep on shooting for no reason at all.
You mean they forget about taking revenge?
When revenge is impossible, they eventually get tired of it and forget their original goals. When that happens, they have nothing except their guns. Eventually they'll keep shooting just so they can eat.
You're saying the child soldiers who started using guns for revenge end up as bandits or something?
After all, they've never even gone to school, and they haven't been taught any useful skills as far as employment goes. They only learned how to shoot guns, and they were only praised when they killed the enemy. Eventually, your reason for living stops being revenge and becomes the means you once used to take revenge. It's sad, really.
You saying that I'll eventually get tired of revenge and... what would it be in my case?
You'll get tired of exposing the truth, and you'll eventually become a person who can do nothing but hate Ushirimiya Ava.
Well, that's true already. Got a problem with it?
Yeah, come to think of it, that's right.
I'm not sure what Amakusa is trying to say. Probably something annoying. So, I'm not interested. Revenge is pointless. Is that what you're trying to say?
You still have a long life ahead of you, lady. With your youth, you could do anything. I get the feeling that this journey might be a waste of that precious youth.
It's none of your business. I've already jumped once, remember? Off that huge skyscraper.
And you only barely made it out of that alive.
Back then, I died. So I'm already a ghost. And my only purpose is to expose the truth of that day, to take revenge on my family's enemy.
Sheesh. That's an iron will you've got there, lady.
There's no way a flippant man like you could understand how I feel. After that, Amakusa was forced to shut his mouth.
He shrugged, but Anji didn't see. Even so, Hamakusa spoke once more.
On the first day we started this journey, you said something. You said you wanted to know what happened on the island that day.
It's the same now. What's changed?
Now you're saying that you want to know what happened on that island that day, so you can expose Ushiremiya Ava's crime.
And isn't that exactly the same?
Well, that's true, but...
I'm tired, so I'll sleep now. Good to know some things don't change. Would you mind staying quiet for a bit? Tell me when we get there.
Roger that.
It's like telling her to live, but he's gonna kill her anyway, isn't he?
Who knows?
That's what we gotta find out.
Because he's been hired by Okonogi-san? Is it Okonogi?
Hired to protect her.
Well, wasn't it that he was hired to protect her, but then like they don't need her anymore, so they just want to get rid of her?
She's a liability.
Yeah. I wasn't particularly tired, really. I just said that because I didn't like talking about this.
Don't become one. A child soldier.
Anji, who had decided to feign sleep, ignored him, but Amakusa kept talking. He wanted to make sure she heard at least as much.
You started on a journey to learn the truth. It's becoming more and more of a journey of revenge. A journey to have revenge by exposing the truth. But as you know, there's nothing left in Rikkenjima. There aren't even any traces left. Exposing the truth might not be a picnic.
I know what Amakusa's trying to say. The police searched the scene so thoroughly just after the crime, and even they weren't able to find any physical evidence proving that Ushiremiya Ava was the culprit. And a full 12 years have passed since then. If the truth could be discovered by a girl like me waving wads of cash around to pick up a bit of info from those who were somehow related to the incident, then someone would have exposed the truth long ago. I might not be able to reach the truth. If so, then my first desire, my desire to expose the truth, will probably fade away. After that, only my hatred for Ava will remain. Just like those child soldiers, who forget their original purpose and live just to shoot. I'll forget my original purpose and live just to hate. I'll do nothing but despise Ushiremiya Ava, but my goal, exposing the truth for revenge, will be gone. She looks so crazy there! So hating Ushiremiya Ava will become my whole life. Is there any difference between shooting for revenge and shooting to live? When you pull the trigger, someone dies either way. And what about my case? Is there any difference between hating Ava as I expose the truth and hating Ava after I've given up? There's no difference. In the end, whether I find the truth or not, I'll just keep on cursing Ava over and over until I die. What a crappy life. But now, that's all I have left. Ushiremiya Ava stole my family. So, I'll take revenge. By exposing her crimes and showing the world. My consciousness was slowly drifting away into sleep. Why is Oni-chan showing me such a bizarre Kenjima? Is this supposed to be the truth? Enough with this farce. Why is even Oni-chan trying to hide the truth from me? I'm trying to find it so that I can avenge him and the others. Oh, would Oni-chan say the same thing as Amakusa? That revenge is meaningless, so I should stop? Is that why he's speaking in riddles? Trying to make everything more confusing? That's none of his business. I'm not just trying to take revenge for their sakes. I'm doing it for my sake too. After all, that's the only reason I'm still alive. Taking revenge is my reason to live. I don't have a clue what Oni-chan is thinking.
I wonder if that car in like the rearview mirror is like the her aunt's something. That'd be
Maybe.
interesting.
Maybe. Was that what we already recorded previously?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember any of the last half.
Yeah, you were constantly zoning in and out.
But how did I read it?
Yeah, you read it.
How? I don't remember any of that. I don't remember Amakusa being in the episode.
You read it somehow.
I don't even remember seeing like the car scene. I had no idea what was going on.
And that's why we're re-recording this.
Well, you were gonna just upload it, weren't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, yeah, it'll do. Because, like, there's a lot of pauses and stuff. But you still read it, kind of.
Yeah.
More or less. And I was like,
Did
"Oh,
I
can
even
just-"
put on voices? I don't remember like Big Angie.
I think you definitely read, like, different characters in the different
What?
voices. Like, I think he did, like, some Angie lines as Beatrice and vice versa.
Wow. I don't have any recollection of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, well, because I asked you if you remembered, and you went like, not really, so I was like, it's best if we just go over it again. Mainly for your story experience.
Well, I think this read through was much better than my unconscious one.
Yeah. And then there was the neighbor. Just, all right, 3, 2, 1, let's start. It's like, what is the timing on that?
Oh my goodness.
Alright. That concludes this one. Hopefully, I don't know. If it bugs out, we're just going with the sleeping one.
Okay. Oh no, don't. I'm stopping now. We're gonna make this work.